dish ran away with the spoon.
That's going to be the next movie.
Until the dish realized that she had a thing for the cow who jumped over the moon, who put her in a weird love triangle.
Played by Justin Bieber.
I mean, I know that branding is supposed to be important. All people see things that they recognize, like, oh, I recognize that. I'll go see that. But when you're falling back on fairy tales because they're presumably free, you're in trouble.
Yeah, man.
It worked with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Shut up.
No, it did not. I think for you it did. You're the only one. Yeah, man. When you get, I mean, that's the next thing they're gonna do. I mean, they're doing fairy tales now and fucking those up. So why not do, Humpty Dumpty, fuck this teenager or whatever. I mean, it's like this is so bad. I mean, it's desperation now.
It's a blatant cash grab by the Twilight producers, basically, because they're going, well, shit, we can't go and make directly a Twilight movie. So what else can we do with love triangles and supernatural creatures?
Yeah. And the sad thing is that we've already had a string of these movies in the past 2 months. This
2 weeks.
This new cinema de shit.
2 hours. A couple of them just came out a while ago.
I know. It's like, wow, is this supposed to play alongside a Beastly? I mean, because it is catering towards that target audience of tweens and dumbasses, I guess. But,
Did you notice that the screening was in the same room where they show Beastly?
I did.
Well, so they can have the stench of Beastly still on the seats.
Beastly to let us see. So the Riding Hood.
It's actually resonated with Beastly. You run your hand on the seats and it just would come off right on your hand.
I was going to say, if they ran them both together, they would just cause a singularity and would just suck in.
They actually had a teenage angsty werewolf come and mark himself on every seat in there.
Spray.
He'd be pissing all over the seats.
Raising his ass up, pissing on everything. This will get these tweens.
And yet being pissed on by a teenage werewolf would have been better than seeing this movie.
Oh, man. Let me tell you how bad I thought this movie was. I mean, I just felt bad how I talked to this girl tonight until I realized what I had said to her and what we had just seen. I'm walking out, and one of the guys that we see the movies with, Russell?
Yeah, Russell.
Yeah, he was talking to a group of girls who were like, maybe one of them was his daughter, so now maybe I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, it was okay. That girl was like, she I guess she's 14 or something, and she's with her friends, and she's like saying, "That was awesome! Wasn't that great?" And then I just looked at her and I was like, "You like that?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You're fucking retarded."
Oh my God, that's the same thing happened to Leon coming out of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, right. I think I was the one who told him that.
Okay, I didn't say fucking in there, but I did say you're retarded.
Yeah.
And she was like, well,
dude, she is retarded. That wasn't cool.
I know. Oh, well, for her, that movie was
I don't know what Leon's excuse is.
Well, that's
talking about the movie that you like just as much as I do.
I'm just picking on you because everyone else does.
I just
left that alone. I didn't say anything.
I just love how Cyrus is turning his back on you right now, Leon. That's the entertaining part of it.
With the world's oldest reference.
I don't even know that.
You work at a Hooters.
Plus, you gave away the ending.
No, but I mean that is one of those things that when you're walking out and you seeing you understand these kids enjoy this shit because they keep making it, and the whole time I'm thinking, wow, we're the assholes that are stuck. That have to review this shit, and we're gonna see plenty more down the road. I mean, this teen bullshit train is not gonna stop at any point. It's gonna keep going because I know these movies are gonna make money.
Well, I'm curious about that because I understand why some of the other movies were made, like Beastly, for example, which we keep talking about. The budget was low on that.
It was nothing.
There was no budget.
Yeah, and I think it might have been like $17 million. So after 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, even if the movie's not like in the top 5 grossing movies anymore, for that week, I mean,
it's going to make its money back.
Just by getting the distribution deal to be on a wide release.
Who make these movies?
No, the distribution deal alone, if you get a wide release, you're going to make $17 million.
Yeah. But I'm looking at this movie, and it looks like maybe not much because they look like they were on a high school set a lot.
I mean, let's be honest. This acting and writing wise, this was on the level of a high school play.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was all shot at a Renaissance festival.
But we got a little CG in there because, we got a CG werewolf, and there was some money that went into the sets and trying to make this thing look like a fairy tale.
The set. To be fair.
The set,
set.
This shit looks like Pee-wee's Playhouse or something up there. And I'm like thinking, well, maybe a little bit more money went into this, and so they had like a little bit of a high ambition here. But it's totally wasted unless for some reason, and hey, as we all know, we can't figure these dumbass teenagers out.
I don't know what's going on. I think it's the doomed romance angle thing that just kills them the same way it worked for Shakespeare, except he knew how to write. Apparently, like he didn't need to. He could have just been like, "Yo, bitch, the light makes you look good up there."
It makes me think that years ago, Shakespeare was actually a hack.
Yeah.
And you know, even when he wrote, like, the people who roll their eyes at Shakespeare today, that was everybody back then. So it makes me think, like, you know, 200 years from now, is Beastly and Red Riding Hood going to be classic literature?
Luckily, we won't be alive then.
But the thing is, you know, like, the Twilight movies are terrible. And some might be better than the others, but they're all pretty bad.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
But the thing is, Beastly and Red Riding Hood make those movies look good.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, you know, the thing with the doom romance or the love triangle, they kind of mention it at first, but then it almost gets forgotten about. And when they talk about it, it's like, really, you guys don't even seem to be feeling this.
No one seems to care.
And you know, the thing is, I will not say. I mean, I cannot say that these films actually make Twilight look actually better. Maybe, I don't know, editing wise or something. But you know, it's still plagued with bad acting, and it's one of those things where it's like you can tell there's some adult trying to write these, trying to like capture whatever magic, whatever those Twilight books were, which I don't think anybody, if there was any magic to it, it's all bad. And nobody's nobody's captured it. Nobody's going to, because it's just ridiculous. No, you know, the sensibility of it.
If you go to a major bookstore, of which there aren't a lot left anymore, but if you do, there'll be like 3 walls that are all kind of black, you know, with displays, and they have tons of these books that are exactly that. I mean, just vampires alone, but I'm sure there's mummies, the sexy creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting there paging through it, but you go, this isn't going away anytime
Well,
soon.
I Am Number 4. I mean, that is a complete byproduct of all those books. Totally. I mean, it's just jumping on the next genre. Like, okay, let's do aliens now. They've done everything else, and it's not going to go away.
They already did that. Yeah. It was called I Am Number 4.
Yeah,
that's what I just said.
Yeah, okay,
yes.
Now, you know what? People are probably wondering, how do they turn, you know, a fairy tale like this into what we have here in this movie? So I guess I blocked a lot of this out as I walked out, because I was just like, fuck.
Go ahead,
movie, man.
Corey,
I'll try.
Tell the folks at home what this movie is
yes,
about.
Sir. Well, it's
because I was asleep.
You did. You snored, boy.
fell asleep.
That was like a fairy tale, like you tell your kids at night to put them to sleep.
You know,
that was actually me turning into a wolf.
Yeah. You know what's scary though? For a second, I noticed that, because even I was dozing off the first like 20 minutes of it, and I noticed you were dozing, and then I was like looking around. I was like, oh shit, is there like a gas line broken or something? Are we all about to end up on CNN? It's like the screening that went horribly wrong, and everyone in the entire theater died.
Were we hallucinating?
I know. It's like, but
this
That's
movie,
not uncommon. When we went to see, what was it, 10,000 BC, I think?
Yeah.
It's like, look down the row and everyone was asleep.
Oh my god!
But this movie, it centers on a medieval village that's fallen under prey to an attacking werewolf, and they sacrifice, a pig or a goat or a goose or something every year to keep it off of them.
Whenever the full moon.
The full red moon.
Oh, yeah.
Just when it's the full moon.
Yeah,
the red moon
was
later.
special, but that was midnight special day.
All right, I was asleep. Shut up. Yeah, I was asleep.
Yeah,
They put out Taco Bell for the werewolf.
Every type of taco is it?
The blood moon's when the wolf has its period.
Yeah,
you don't want to be around on that night. It gets a little messy.
It's really bitchy.
They don't have wolf-sized tampons. Is all I'm saying. So.
Yet.
And
Those weren't invented yet.
Wolves can't eat chocolate. Continue.
But yeah, so everybody thinks that this is working until the wolf just year after year starts to become more aggressive. And it's not until this priest comes into town, who's played by Gary Oldman. He tells them, like, look, we got to go hunt this thing down. It's like way beyond any of you dumb fucks around.
You don't realize this isn't just a wolf. Yeah. It's a werewolf.
It's a werewolf.
It's a human the rest of the time.
And on top of that, it could be any of you motherfuckers.
Right. And that's the thing.
Any of you.
When he comes into town, he turns everybody against each other, and probably is not, all he seems to be himself. He's a man of God, but he's just a little bit evil.
Well, he's like Gary Oldman.
We're safe now. I killed the wolf in his lair.
The cave at Mount Grimoire.
You have been deceived by this beast from the very start. It made you think he'd lived on Mount Grimoire so that you would not look for it in the most obvious place. The wolf lives here, in this village, among you. The real killer could be your neighbor, your best friend, even your wife.
It's like any witch hunter is like, they're like the cop. He's like the cops. It's like, we gonna hang somebody. Somebody's gonna burn. Innocent, guilty, fuck that.
I don't give a
shit.
fuck.
Yeah, I didn't bring this crazy elephant contraption for nothing. This is going to be used at some point in this movie.
You know, I always make Denzel Washington Training Day references, but he really was. I'm the man up in this piece. I'm the man of God up in here. Y'all just live in this village.
Yeah. So, and sometimes you got to kill 3 or 4 innocent people to get to the guilty one. Hey, that's the price of justice. What you want from me? I don't make the rules.
Yeah, where's Martin Lawrence to say this shit just got real?
So we just burn anybody that just resembles a werewolf? Yeah, fuck them. Anybody that looks like them.
I'll be honest with you. My first plan was to kill all y'all.
Yeah, just come here and burn all this shit.
I used to just think that was some cold shit to say to a bitch right before I tied her to a stake and burned her alive. But now I'm really starting to think about it. Maybe I'm the shepherd, and it's my job to corral in the wolf.
Yes. But you know what could be an interesting story here? Not exactly good, but could be somewhat interesting.
Could be.
Is taken away by Amanda Seyfried's character here, who plays one of the village girls. She falls for this orphan woodcutter named Jack.
No, Peter.
I mean, Peter. I'm getting all my nursery rhymes. Peter.
All right, Peter
and the Wolf.
Peter and the Wolf.
I would just call him Captain Sneer, because that's the only facial expression he had.
Hey, you know what? They put him down for being an orphan or woodcutter, but I'm like, you know what? He's the only kid in medieval, wherever they are, who was able to find hair gel. You got to give him.
I know, you got to hand him that.
Well, that's the thing about this movie, man. Everybody who's an extra or over 30, they're all scruffy and gruffy, got messed up hair. But anyone who's a major star and under 30 got like a faux hawk, all nice and sculpted in gel. Always walks in with a swagger, you know.
The Jonas Brothers were hanging out there like chopping wood.
Yeah. They were the most expensive leather that you could even afford right now.
Yeah. You know, everybody's like starving in this village trying to get a breakfast and something to eat, and these motherfuckers using egg yolk to sculpt their hair and shit.
Even when they're celebrating, what I love the most about this movie is even when they're celebrating, when they start kicking the jams, it's like Lady Gaga's playing. And I'm just like, wait a minute, is this, because actually they keep going back and forth with the music, and you're like, no, that music is playing in that
kids
scene.
are all, the main kid, Peter, he's like the one, you can tell he's the bad boy because he shops at Ye Old Hot Topic. Yeah. He's got the black leather and the chains, and he's like,
shirt open.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
He's got one black glove and shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be freezing out there, but he never wears sleeves.
No.
Got to show off those.
He's got the buttons down to the mid chest. You're like, dude, there's snow everywhere. What are you doing?
It's out there cutting trees, man. And shit, come on. But you know, that's the thing about this movie is that once we get into this love triangle between Amanda Seyfried's character
with Peter and Henry,
and this Peter guy who's played by actor Shiloh Fernandez, you know, that's where this movie really gets bogged down by this whole teen drama thing. And even though I think they're supposed to be either 19 or 20 years old, it is straight up teen drama. And
Twilight Light.
Yeah, and it is so it is so bad that whenever there is not a CG werewolf on the screen, the movie just slows to a crawl.
The scene where they're at the prom, you know what I'm talking about? Like they're dancing. You're like, you forget there's supposed to be medieval times, and so does the movie. You know, I'm surprised it didn't start playing "Open Arms" by Journey. You know,
well, that's what I was saying. That was the scene where it's like they were playing some kind of Lady Gaga shit. Where it's like, okay, I can understand when you're doing something like let's say you're doing like a Romeo and Juliet.
They do it on purpose.
Yeah, where they do it on purpose. But there are scenes where you can hear the music faintly in the background, but it's still like that Lady Gaga soundtrack. Because I'm like, oh, so you're saying that's the actual music? Okay, yeah, that's stupid.
And then the wolf comes in. It's like the final countdown.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
it'd be more like Hungry Like the Wolf.
Okay, so the movie's just bad writing, really bad acting from people who you think like, man,
Julie Christie.
I got to give it up to these directors who really know how to make good actors look terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't know what kind of magic they use to do this.
Well, if your script is so bad that there's just no good way to say it.
Yeah,
I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And then it'll be so boring. The love story is sappy and only half-ass thrown together. Then the wolf will come in. I'm like, okay, finally, something's happening.
Right.
So it's like that wolf. Sometimes it looked okay, and sometimes it looked like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked less convincing than the wolf and the CG wolf and Hoodwinked some of the time.
I didn't mind it. I mean, it's not the best looking effect, but I didn't think it was terrible. But
I thought compared to everything else, okay, look, the wolf brought the excitement.
Well, the wolf brought that, and I thought that actually liked the concept of turning it into a mystery. On a concept level,
that too.
That's the first time it gets interesting. Yeah. You know, when you're like, oh, it actually is one of the townspeople when it turns into that. And then you've got Amanda Seyfried, who actually finds out she can talk to the wolf, or at least hear it. And she's the only person who even has a clue by that conversation of who the wolf might be. And it gets old so fast.
Well, the thing is,
God.
at that point, that's kind of the point for me in the movie where I was just like, okay, this seems interesting enough, especially how you bring in the concept that the wolf can communicate with this character, the lead character, and you're just like, all right, this is where there's something they could really do something with this right now, because at this point I'm already about to check out. And at that point, they don't. They kind of drop the ball with it, but only because they go back to the whole fucking love triangle.
Well, I even thought the wolf thing got silly after a while. Like, I thought the wolf looked cool. Maybe it's because it was the only cool fucking thing in that film. But I think
that's what it is.
Yeah, because I was looking, I was like, all right, badass, here comes the wolf. Now we're talking here, because Cyrus and I were talking. I was like, okay, maybe this is a rental now, just because it's wolf. But then that gets silly real quick, because the wolf talks to Amanda Seyfried with his eyeball. He's like, hey, girl, come with me.
Yeah. Have you seen her eyes? It's the only way she can communicate.
That's how they can. Yeah, that's the new form of ESP.
I was talking about. Who played the grandmother in this?
Julie Christie.
Julie Christie. Yeah, because we got a lot of people in this movie. We have Julie Christie. We have Gary Oldman, as we just mentioned. A revered actor. We even have people like Virginia Madsen.
Yeah.
Lucas Haas, who's that kid's all right too. I like it, but all these people are bad.
Movie,
but everybody's terrible in this movie because the dialogue they have to say. But you made me laugh when you were talking about how
Amanda Seyfried with those big eyes.
Yeah, when Julie Christie plays her grandmother.
Grandmother, what big eyes you have? And grandmother like, bitch, have you looked in the mirror? You gotta talk about me.
Yeah, I'd say that's the only reason Lucas Haas was cast here, because the only guy with bigger eyes than her.
See, I always thought we all witnessed Amanda Seyfried's birth in Men in Black when Will Smith delivered her.
I was Cyrus when he came on the screen. I was like, oh shit, this is a CG anime right here. This might be all right, man. But man, that poor girl, she got some pretty eyes.
She's still cute. Hey, you know what? Despite her big eyes, I still think she's
very
cute.
pretty.
Yeah, no, seriously, you would not be if you saw her at Charles Xavier's school.
Yeah.
You would not be even mildly surprised. Like, do you actually have an ability, or are you just a Morlock?
I've actually seen her naked, and believe me, you're not really paying attention to those eyes.
At her eyes
on TV.
On TV.
Granted, she looks like E.T. when he was wearing that wig in the closet.
Oh, come on now.
But she's fine though, man. No, the girl is hot. You'd be so lucky just to have those eyes, and I'll take them. But man, the problem, the biggest problem with this movie, and what really angers me about it, it just really upsets me about it, is that they are trying so hard. There's areas that this movie does not try, and the areas that it does try is bad. It tries so hard to mold this, push this, shove this thing into this whole Twilight trend. This whole trend of appealing to this teenagers, sappy ass girl crowd.
A romance story.
This romance story that the movie doesn't even know what it wants to be. It is lost. Mm-hmm. At one point it wants to be this suspenseful werewolf movie. At another thing, it wants to be a teen drama, and then it wants to be about the Salem witch trials. And it's like, this is not fitting together at all. Any of this.
Well, you're right, and because it's doing so many things, it takes so long to get to its point, and which is why several people checked out. Some people got up early and left, but checking out the story. But like when I came back into it, they do have one pretty good action scene that's suspenseful, and I kind of appreciate the fact that they had a mystery where so many red herrings where like, okay, I'm not sure who this could be, and they're keeping this afloat pretty well. I even like the conclusion of, on paper, I like what they decided to do with it.
Really?
Unfortunately, it just kept going.
I didn't
know when to quit, and it just wow, it just completely shot itself in the foot.
I thought the conclusion was awful. I was like, really? Because that was like the first person you thought of, and they do a good job of saying it could easily be any one of about 7 people, and they one at a time. They're eliminated until it's down to maybe 3 by the end, and I was like, really? Because that was like the person I thought, well, that's going to be the lamest answer.
Yeah,
and sure enough, you're like, wow, okay, well, it fits in what you told us, but even so,
I agree. It is so force-fed to you, and the thing is that just using my pet detective skills, I was just like, wait a minute, I know exactly who this is. And when it came out, especially at the end, it got so cheesy and it got so ridiculous
when
that
it turned
it's like,
back
really?
It remembered all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're not a horror mystery, we're a Twilight ripoff, and so let's get back to that here for the end
with a dash. And I think this is the only part of the movie that sort of won me over, with a little bit of like the 13th Warrior, where it's like a bunch of soldiers that come out of nowhere to go hunt down this thing where I'm like, okay, at least this is something that I'm interested in.
Well, you know,
besides this stupid love triangle shit.
I thought it was so funny when Gary Oldman got off of his carriage when he came into town, because, you know, he came in a whole troop of guys, and he had those guys that escorted him off. And the two guys who took their helmets off were two black dudes.
Oh, yeah.
And Gary Oldman, like, they introduced him, and then he came in. He had each of them stand on the side of him. I thought they were going to be like, doo-wop, doo-wop, doo-wop.
His entourage.
I know. From looking at that village, I thought the people would just start screaming.
I know.
Like, we never seen a black person. You brought wolves with you?
Yeah, but the thing is, speaking of Gary Oldman, though, I have to really say this. I have to admit that he was by far the most entertaining part of this movie for me, at least acting wise, because I mean, it's like, wow, Gary Oldman, you're pulling out that old like Dracula acting that you know I hadn't seen in years from you, where you know he's really toned down his characters that he's been playing, but this he's just like, you know what, I know this is terrible, but to me it seemed like he's just gonna go, fuck it, I'm just gonna make this fun for me.
Look, Gary Oldman can be doing dinner theater, and he's gonna put himself into it. He can be a kindergarten play. He's gonna be acting his ass off.
That guy. I mean, he had that point in his career where he would just chew up scenery in every role he got. It was almost like he decided for the next couple decades, I'm just going to chill out so that I have a range, I can be subtle. But his was one where he just said, fuck that.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. He was chewing so much scenery, I thought he was the wolf.
And you know, it worked, because that was like the only thing that was keeping me interested in this whole movie.
Well, I have to say, man, I kind of agree. Like, I like that it became a mystery. And I like where it could have gone, because I didn't predict who it was. I mean, it gets to a point where you just say any of you could be the wolf, and it's like, oh yeah, but we only have a limited number of people to choose from, so it's no big surprise when it does happen. But I wouldn't have even minded that. It's just when they actually revealed who this wolf was, and it was just ridiculous to me how much they just tried to twist that around and make sense out of it. And then after that, it can't end there. It has to keep going with the love shit.
Everything they did after that I was kind of like, at this point, I could go rental on it. What the hell? I don't know. But everything they did after that, it went like, bullshit.
It went off the fucking rails. Yeah. I mean, because that's where I'm like, oh God, don't try screaming franchise to me just now. No, stop. All these fucking kids might buy into this shit, but no.
Well, that's what Amanda see. There's an epilogue. Like when everything should have just stopped. She comes out. And it was like, wow, man, I feel like it's another movie now.
Exactly.
Turned out this is a prequel to the real Twilight ripoff we'll be doing later.
I know. It's like, you know what? Calm down, Mr. Writer and Director. Just calm down. Let's see if this movie works first. Then we can talk about sequels. But no, they're like, no, fuck it. Everyone's going to love this fucking movie. We got Lucas Haas in here.
Hey, he's not high.
I know.
It's like Skyline, where it's like, look, we know you loved it. We just want to show you what the next movie's going to be like before this one is done.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I like Gary Oldman. I did. I mean, he's hard not to like, especially when everybody's just. I don't think anybody in here could do anything with this dialogue, and Gary Oldman couldn't do much with it. But at least he had, he had the manner to carry it. But as far as everything else, and I do like where there was some effort made. I mean, it didn't work, but at least they did try to capture the look of a fairy tale. It ended up looking like a cardboard set at the time, but I do appreciate the effort there. I like that. That's a little more effort than all the stuff that we've seen before. But overall, this is an embarrassment, man. I mean, I was feeling for the actors that had to be in this film, and maybe they'll look at me and say, "Fuck you, Corey. We got a paycheck." But still, I felt embarrassed to be sitting there watching this movie. This is bullshit. This is some old bullshit, as old as you can get. This turd is hard. It's white. It's hard.
It's pretty damn white. That's true.
Except for those two black dudes that came with
I mean, I don't know what more I can say. It really is like watching a high school. It's like you get drafted and going to see your niece or nephew in a high school production shot at a Renaissance festival with a lame romance, some passable CG, and just when you think, okay, maybe it's not that bad, it kicks into overdrive and just has an almost unforgivably bad ending. It's just easily some old bullshit. Just because of those few little things I could say kind of positive, it stops it from being a fuck you, kept me from being mad about it, but wow.
It's it's funny. It goes back and forth with its mechanics of being mildly acceptable, like a rental level, like Corey was saying we were talking about before. You're like, okay, well the mystery, this is a good idea to put this here, but then they keep not knowing what to do with it is the problem, and even worse, they keep crowbarring in that Twilight shit into here. I don't mind a romance in a film, but this is awkward and it's badly done, and the two guys are just stumps of wood. They are they are. Yeah. They are so bad in this movie, especially Captain Smirks a lot.
Yeah, who plays Shiloh Fernandez.
Awful.
I was waiting for somebody to chop them down in the woods by accident.
No, those two guys are called Shiloh Fernandez, as I mentioned before, and Max Irons. And
right, they're terrible.
And as lead guys, and this is one of those movies where I'm not going to blame them because this director was not good with anyone.
Well, I kind of liked, in a weird sort of way, in a satirical way, how they were crowbarring in the fairy tale, though, because every time they did, it was so awkward it was laugh out loud funny. I mean, like the scene you were talking about earlier with the grandma and her, well, how big your eyes are. Oh my god, that was the funniest shit I've seen.
The whole theater groaned. They're like, come on now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm looking at the theater. Come on, this is Red Riding Hood. Come on, you do really think these guys are that smart to where they're not going to include that shit in there?
I mean, there's no subtlety to it at all. This is not in the hands of any smart writers. Well, maybe smart writers, but who knows? Who knows how many people had their hands on this script and just said, "Fuck it."
Regardless of my laughs, it's they weren't intentional. That's for sure. And this is some old bullshit.
No, that werewolf basically shat some old bullshit all over that entire film, and it was just like, okay, no, this is fucking ridiculous, and I can't. I'm not gonna tell little kids that they're shitheads because they enjoy this, but because it's like it's targeted towards you. Your brain hasn't developed yet, so it's like I understand, but no, I mean the movie. I think there could have been a decent story they could have told. I mean, there's a lot of little small pieces about it to where I'm like, wow, let me write this shit and I'll make it fucking interesting, at least for me, and fun for the audience. But no, you're right. It is just plagued with Twilight to the point to where it is fucking ridiculous, and it's simply some old bullshit. Yeah, go. Yeah, if you were trying to break with somebody, go take them out to a double feature with this and Beastly, and
and leave them there.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you shouldn't murder them.
For real, you know what? Take me out in the woods and just shoot me like a dog. Take me out Miller's Crossing style. That's faster. Exactly.
If you want to kill them, fine, but don't torture them. It's like having your eyes burned out.
Look into your heart.
Hey, fuck them.
And we noticed this like at the very beginning of the movie. I have to give this werewolf credit. He is the neatest werewolf there is. He's very clean. He's almost Mortician, like when he leaves a body. Like there's a dead body on the ground of the first person they kill. They come out there. There's no blood.
What is it? There's 3 scratches.
They're not mangled. There's no blood. Yeah. There's just 3 neat, very straight scratches down the center of this girl's gown. It's almost like he put a little flour on her, and put some lipstick and makeup on her, left the body there, walked away daintily.
I know.
Well,
I was like, wait a minute.
He's a gothic werewolf. He wanted to, it has to be pretty good to set it up. Put some of that blood on her lips so they're real shiny red. Maybe put a rose around her neck.
Start singing "Seal Kiss by a Rose."
Do you know what this girl needs? An Ankh necklace. I'm gonna go get one of those.
I was like, does everyone know that this is not a werewolf we're looking for? It's fucking Wolverine.
But I tell you, he a little bit racist too, because he leave the white buddies real nice, but when he got a hold of a black person, like, come in, nigga, he jerked them all around.
Hey man, well, black people dark meat is the best.
I guess it was a flavor. Hey, the blacker the berry.
Once you mutilate black, you just can't go back.